Welcome to another episode of Change Agent Leadership. I'm your host, Jonathan Hankin. Through my years of leadership in corporate, nonprofit, and private equity spaces, I found that the most effective leaders are both self aware and change agents. Of course, there's much more to leadership, but time and again, I've seen that when my coaching clients gain clarity on themselves and the changes they need to make, they don't just improve, their businesses thrive, and they have a positive impact on those around them. A key part of this transformation is taking the time to reflect on where you are, where you want to go, and how to take charge of your life with purpose. Going deeper, you realize it's about four main things. One, understanding what's driving you forward and what's holding you back. Two, defining your goals, personally, professionally, and financially. Three, taking ownership of your career and life with an action plan. And four, knowing your why, because clarity leads to real change. The problem? Most of us are not wired to pause and reflect. Life keeps us moving forward at full speed, and we often ignore that inner voice telling us to slow down until we're forced to by a crisis or a health scare, family struggles, job dissatisfaction, or the sudden realization that time is slipping away and our dreams remain unfulfilled. But here's the truth. It's never too late or too early to hit pause and reassess. That's why I want to share some insights from a book I've read several times called Halftime: Moving from Success to Significance by Bob Buford. Bob Buford introduces the idea that life happens in three broad stages. The first half, typically the first 40 years of your life, where success is the focus; halftime, a period of reflection and transition; and the second half, a shift from success to significance, where you focus on impact, purpose, and legacy. Buford opens the book by asking a powerful question. What do you want to be written on your epitaph? His own answer, 100x, a reference to the biblical idea of multiplying one's impact 100-fold. He didn't want to simply exist, he wanted to be a change agent. He also quotes St. Augustine, who once said, asking yourself the question of your own legacy, quote, "What do I wish to be remembered for is the beginning of adulthood," end quote. So let me ask you, what do you want to be remembered for? For most of us, the first half is about building careers, relationships, and financial stability. Bob Buford was no different. He found tremendous success in the TV business and experienced what he calls a success panic. Despite his achievements, he felt a deep need to reevaluate his priorities. Many of us can relate to this. We push forward, build our careers, chase goals, but eventually we start to wonder, is this really all there is? Buford points out that most people enter halftime after taking some hard hits, whether from professional struggles, personal failures, or just the realization that the life they built doesn't fully align with their deeper purpose. The question becomes, how do we move forward with intention? Enter this halftime stage, the shift from success to significance, which is the focus of this book. Halftime isn't just about career change, it's about mindset shift. Bob lifts out 6 things to do during halftime. 1, make peace with your first half. In other words, let go of regrets from the first half of your life. Accept past mistakes as part of growth. That may sound cold or difficult, but unless we make peace with the past, we will struggle to ever find a second half that leads to significance. 2, take time to reflect. Don't rush the process. Prioritize what truly matters. He points out the biggest mistake most of us make in the first half is not taking enough time on the things that are really important. Take time to identify what's important, have dedicated times of introspection. 3, be deliberate. A successful halftime needs structure. Ask yourself key questions. 1, am I missing anything in my life right now that is important to me? What am I passionate about? What do I value? What do I want to be known for? And 5, what do I want to have impact on? What areas do I wish I had more impact on? Fourth in his list is share the journey. This is a huge step that will determine your second half of life. Don't do this alone. Seek support of a coach, a mentor, or trusted friend. Sharing with a safe person will give credibility to your thoughts and motivate you to continue. 5, be honest. Get real about what truly fulfills you. It's not a time about fantasizing, projecting yourself in unrealistic situations, in other words, daydreaming. Your second half is your genuine self. So be honest enough to discover what it really is going to be with a safe person. And then 6, be patient. Change doesn't happen overnight, as you know. You still have to go to work tomorrow, bills still come in. Having a clear picture of what you should do in the second half will take time. Buford has a good friend, someone you may have heard of, called Peter Drucker. Buford learned from Peter Drucker that for a business to sustain growth, its leadership must either be crazy, crooked, or open to change. He argues the same is true for personal growth. Are we willing to embrace change to grow? Remember, halftime is a time where you take stock of what you have and accomplished thus far in your life and look for ways to be more successful, which leads to significance. He compares it to halftime in a sports game, like American basketball or American football, that have a break during games. The break gives the teams a chance to evaluate their performance in the first half and chart ways to improve the second half. It's a chance to dig more deeply into what you believe and evaluate whether your life is heading in the right direction, compatible with your core beliefs. And remember, games are won or lost in the second half, not the first half. If the first half is about quest for success, the second half is a journey to significance, where significance takes center stage. He again quotes Peter Drucker. Efficiency, Peter says, is doing things right. Effectiveness is doing the right things. Many of us spend our first half focused on efficiency, doing the right things, but the second half is about effectiveness, doing things right. The first half for most of us has been about doing things right to get the results we wanted in life. The second half is about doing the right things that fulfill us and leave a legacy. He also touches on the tension that we all feel in life. Things like loving others versus competing, people needs versus profit obligations, family versus work, charity versus wealth, etc. We all get caught between these extremes. If you view these tensions negatively, you're probably still in the first half, Bob would point out. But when you begin to see that these intentions are not necessarily bad, but may have some benefits, you've entered halftime. In your journey into the second half, you'll find ways to reduce the tension by learning how to deal with those paradoxes. You'll find peace in knowing that you'll never resolve the tension. It will always be there, but there's nothing inherently wrong with it. A note that Bob points out is closely aligned with your mission statement are your life commitments. Buford suggests crafting a personal mission statement to stay focused. It should be able to be stated in a sentence or two, and some key questions he has to consider are, what am I truly passionate about? What have I done exceptionally well? Where do I belong? How am I wired? And what legacy do I want to leave? A key takeaway is that many of the things you listed out that will form your mission statement are really the true you. Several of those items may have not been fulfilled yet, but many times the things you've learned and value are able to be lived out in the second half where there is intentionality. Doing this exercise will also help you bring not only clarity but excitement for what is possible. While life can have a different impact in the second half, it's still you. True, you have been impacted by the first half of your life, whether that first half is in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, whatever your age is. The point is that all time is not wasted. Now is the time to distill down and take an action plan and drive forward what can be the best years of your life. It's not wasted time in the first half. Some valuable lessons have been learned. Life doesn't move perfectly in defined chapters is another thing to keep in mind. The transition from the first half to the second half is often messy, overlapping, and full of uncertainty. But the key is to be intentional. In the first half, it doesn't mean you will not be significant or have meaning. It means that you're learning during the first part of your life, taking what you learn and taking it to the next level in the second half. Consider creating a clear life mission statement. Take control of your destiny. Commit to lifelong learning and going all in on the things that truly matter. No matter where you are in your journey, your first half, halftime, or second half, take the time to reflect and move forward with purpose. Let's all drive positive change, starting with ourselves.